Hello, I'm Lisa Burkhardt Worley of Pearls of Promise Ministries, and you are watching Pop Talk. Got a question for you. Have you ever thought of yourself as a diva? I really haven't, except there was one time where I thought maybe I kind of looked like a diva, and I'm going to share that photo with you in just a minute. But today we're going to talk to a woman who writes all about divas. Her name is Angie Leigh Monroe. We're going to do a proper introduction in just a minute. But first, I want to introduce our Pop Talk team. To my left is Dr. Lynnette Simm.
Hi.
And then over here on the right, far right, is Alma Jimenez Hall. And then we have Rosemary Legrand. We are just ordinary girls who God turned into pearls, and that's the truth. But our guest today is Angie Leigh Monroe. She's an international speaker, a strategist, a consultant whose expertise guides people to identify and obliterate obstacles. Love to hear about that, Angie. She's also the founder of D.I.V.A.S. Impact. It's a magazine, but there's also a lot of other things you do, podcasts and blogs and different things that you do for D.I.V.A.S. Impact. You're a native Texan.
Yes.
She's a veteran, a Navy veteran. Thank you for your service. And executive director with the John Maxwell team. You have 3 children with your husband Michael, and you guys met while you were in the Navy, which is interesting. And you have 2 grandchildren.
Right.
And then you have what you call fake kids. Yeah. Now, when I first heard that, I thought, what is a fake kid? But she's going to explain that. Then I found out I was a fake kid. So, Angie Leigh Monroe, it is so great to have you on Pop Talk. I know you're going to have a lot to say. But before we go to your interview, I do want to show this photo of myself when I thought maybe I was a diva. I was in a fashion show, and they did, thank you. And I just laugh when I see this. I think, is that me? Anyway, they did the makeup and the hair, and they have the fancy earrings. And
look at that.
I actually had a better picture than that, but I can't find it. I was in a green dress, and I was sprawled on a couch. I really looked like a diva. But that's my diva look, yes, thank you. That was many years ago. But I looked up diva, the definition of diva in Webster's Dictionary, and what I found is that it is a glamorous and successful female performer or personality. The synonyms are goddess, princess, and queen. Now, does that match up to your definition?
For the most part, yeah, it does. Whenever I looked at the word diva, I also saw that it's sometimes a person that's not very kind to work with, kind of pretentious.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
And so you put the nice version in here. But we've heard the stories of the Tyra Banks going off on the airplane. We've heard the stories of the Bad Girls Club. We've heard the stories of just women that think they have arrived and they think everybody else is beneath them, right?
Yes.
Well, I was seeing more and more and more of that. And I really felt that it was time for a change, time for us to start focusing on thinking and speaking better about ourselves and others. So I did this as kind of a reply back to the Real Housewives of whatever bad behavior that's out there, or the Bad Girls Club, or, another talk show that we won't mention right now.
But you have a good view of it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. You have a great view of it. But my acronym that we came up with for Divas is Destined, Inspired, Victorious, Accountable, Sisters.
Love that.
So our focus is on working with women that want to know their purpose in life, what they want to accomplish in life. We want to be an inspiration to others, and we want to share who inspired us.
Love that.
We realize women have been through some stuff. I mean, we've all been through some stuff. I'm sure we all have horrible stories of things that have happened to us, and just some yuck, right? Yeah. So we may have been victimized at one point in our life, but we can be victorious, and we can share from a point of victory.
That's right.
And then building those accountable relationships with each other, so that if one of us is kind of falling back, we can just grab arms with them and keep them and hold them accountable, as we're a sisterhood.
Yes, that's right. I
Treat
love
each other
sisters.
like a sisterhood. And through that way, we can make a bigger impact than we could ever think or imagine.
Love that.
Well, Angie, through all of Diva's impact, you definitely want women to feel like they have something to offer.
Right.
Like Like they can be divas, maybe not a goddess, but definitely so that we know our value and that we are important. Why do you think that so many women, myself included, many a times, struggle with low self-esteem or even worse, we don't even feel loved? So why do you think we do that?
I think back in the 80s and 90s, we did a really good job of showing the power suit. And put your good shoes on, put your good suit on, but we never fixed what was going on inside. We did a lot cosmetically. We can go out and we can put on a nice suit, nice outfit, nice shoes, do our hair up, get our lashes laid back, all that stuff. But if we don't fix what's inside, then none of the rest matters. We still will feel like that insignificant little girl looking for attention. And so most of what we're working on is the beneath the surface stuff, the diving deep. We want to talk about what was your childhood like? What is it that you were seeking? What is it that made you feel safe and secure to explore your hopes and dreams? Because when we tap into that, then we can tap into who you were created to be and help eliminate those boundaries that have been holding you back. I mean, we've all been beat down by life at some point or another. It could have been a word, like mine was from a drama instructor that said, as long as you sound like a hick, you'll never amount to anything. I still have my Texas twang, and I don't care what he says. I rock that.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Look at me now, if you're out there. But here's the big, beautiful part of it. I had to start believing in myself that I was created for more, that I wasn't a voice to be silenced, that, as Laura Daigle says, I am all, what he says, you say, or Cody Carnes, I am all you say I am.
That's right.
So there are some great, powerful songs we can latch onto, but I had to go and do the work.
Yeah.
I had to go and do self-reflection. I had to go and talk with somebody to help them get it in my mind to stop talking ugly to myself.
Yeah.
Right.
And that came first.
Wow. Angie, you're a Navy veteran, and I want to say thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
And I also know that you have a heart for veterans. Why do you think that some of us women are coming out of the military because they have lost their identity?
I get tickled because I'm part of a large veteran community, and through there, I do interviews with guy veterans all the times, and they're like, she's just a dude with long hair. Well, that right there tells you how we lose our identity.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're a dude with long hair, and we're so much more than that. We see the details that the guys don't see. I mean, I'm saying I love my husband dearly, but I can put the butter right on the shelf, right at eyesight in the refrigerator. He'll open it up and look for 45 minutes and never find it, right? But so I can walk in there, he'll put it somewhere totally different. He told me the other day, I hid those zebra cakes. I walked into the pantry, I'm like, they're right there. We just have a better skill and ability, but we're talked down so much. There's more to my story about some things that happened to me, but there's guys that in the military will tell the women that they're not strong enough, they're not capable enough. Wow. They are less than the guys because they can't go into certain roles. Back when I was in, there was a whole file folder that came out of the box that I wasn't allowed to even request that job because it was a male-only billet. And so therefore that made me less than in a lot of the guys' eyes. And then there's an epidemic of sexual trauma that goes on in the military. And it's a higher rate than what's going on in mainstream America. And it's a very rough thing that beats down the women even more. And so we're trying to do our best to curb that for the women, to help them start looking at themselves, seeing themselves, embracing their femininity, and finding out who they are called to be outside of the uniform.
Yeah, I was a sportscaster for almost 20 years, and back then I would never wear pink because I had to be tough, and I had to look tough, and I had to be strong, and I had to be able to match the guys and what they were doing, and I knew I couldn't even make a mistake. If I ever made a mistake, it was like amplified, 1,000 times. So there's a different standard when especially when you're in a male world, right, Angie?
Exactly, totally different standard.
Well, Angie, what I love is that you help people with obstacles they have in trying to find their purpose. And I know you were in a domestic abuse with your fiance. You got out of that relationship, and so there had to have been some forgiveness. So tell me what the obstacle was with that.
The biggest obstacle was trust. Their trust was broken on so many levels during that episode. It wasn't just the attack and the assault that happened. I was in the military when it did happen. That's why I feel very well versed in the military sexual trauma arena. But when I went in to talk to commanding officers, I'm standing there, my arms in a sling, my jaw's wired shut. There's some things going on with me. I'm very visibly beaten. And my officer that was looking at me at the time said, "You're not going to ruin a good Marine's career over this, are you?" And all I could think to myself in my sassy voice was, show me a good Marine. I'm Navy, by the way. So, but the other part of it was that told me that my voice had no validation to bring this charge forward.
Wow.
That told me that there was no sense in moving forward with this because I was in Spain at the time. I had no family. I had very few friends. I worked a lot. And so I had no support, and I was looking to that leader to be that support for me, and they weren't going to be that. And so over the years, I did a lot of stuffing and suppressing, like a lot of women do. I lift up that rug and sweep it under, lift up that rug and sweep it under. And the rug got to be about right here. And I couldn't see around it anymore.
Right.
And I had to deal with it because it was starting to impact my marriage. It was definitely impacting me. And I went into some intense counseling, and I went through a class called Mending the Soul. And it is a fabulous class. I recommend it to everybody, but I have a caution label for it. You will not like the first 5 weeks. It is like taking chemotherapy.
Wow.
It is rough, and at the beginning you're going, I don't want to share my story. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do this. But then at the end of it, you're holding your story up and you're going, this is my story.
Yeah.
This is what I've been through. This is how I can help others. I see you sitting in the dark back there, and I want to be able to give you my hand and walk you out of that. And that right there is what I love doing, helping women overcome that switch.
That's right.
And go, I can learn to trust again. And since then, I've been able to trust my husband, but more importantly, I've been able to trust myself.
Amen. All this really happens because of a relationship, though, with Jesus Christ, with God, because we can't forgive like you forgave, I'm sure, this fiance that abused you. We cannot trust unless we have that trust built into us through the Holy Spirit. And I want to go back to the synonym that we talked about with diva, and that was princess.
Right.
And I love John 1:12 because it gives us a promise that if we believe in God, if we trust in Him, then He gives us the right to be children of God. If we believe in His Son, Jesus Christ, who sacrificed on the cross so that we can have that relationship with God. And so we're princesses. I mean, we are divas in God's sight. I just think that is so wonderful. What does it mean for you to be a child of the Almighty God? And can you take us back to that moment when you stepped into His family?
The beautiful part is I was raised in church. Every time the doors were open, we were there. At age 4, I asked Jesus into my life, and I was doing really good right up until about junior high school age. And then I decided to join the Navy. I had some challenges. I sowed my wild oats, as they call it. But it was when I came back from the Navy, I was in a marriage. I had 3 kids. My husband and Mike had our 3 kids in 3 years. I cried a lot.
I can imagine.
And I felt an intense pull back. I love the verse from Proverbs, train up a child in the way he should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it.
Old, the key word, old.
The
Yes.
thing is I had departed, but it was still there. There was a root deep down in me. My parents had planted the seed. They had watered the soil. They had fertilized it with prayer. And I knew whenever I was at my darkest moments in my marriage, in my life, that I could always run back to God. And that dedication, that rededication, re-energizing of my faith happened in my early 20s. I mean, saved again at age 4, but really in my early 20s is when I was like, okay, I'm obviously not doing a good job with my life, God. Maybe you can try it. Isn't that funny how we do that? We try and pull it back and say, we've got it all under control, except for this. You can have this, God, but I'm going to keep this. But God was going, no, give it to me all. And it has been years of forgiving my ex, forgiving myself, accepting forgiveness. I used to tell people my receiver was broken. And it was, because I was holding on to things that weren't mine to hold on to, and I was blocking the signal. And so we have to unblock our signal and let it go, as Elsa says, let it go.
Yes.
That will be the only singing I'll do today.
There might be an encore, I don't know.
Well, I know that you want everyone to be able to hear and see what the Lord has for them, have God in their life and stuff. And you're doing it in so many ways. One of them is Diva Impact. I mean, this magazine is just chock full of stories, advice, suggestions, care, love, encouragement, hope. I mean, written, edited and created by you, written with so much authority from other women who have experienced it, and it's amazing. How did you come up with the decision to create this? I mean, where did this start?
Everybody always tells you when you're a speaker, you need a book. And I hear all my business coaches going, you need a book. And I hear you. But I wanted something more that was a reoccurring touch point for the women we were going to be impacting. I wanted them to not just hear a story one time from me and then go, okay, we bought this book 5 years ago, da-da-da. I wanted them to hear from the other women in our tribe that have gone through some stuff. In one of our magazines, we have the story of Missy Hunsinger. She was in the Pentagon the day it was hit.
Wow.
We have the story of Elizabeth Levi, who left an abusive relationship and married one of my I call him my godson, fake son, you name him, Dustin. And we have so many other amazing stories in there. My friend Connie talking about her word of the year being vultures one year. That's a hilarious story, but a very good and poignant story for where she was at. And these are all things that can touch women in different areas of what they're going through. I can't do that because I'm not equipped, but I am equipped to get their stories out there to touch more women than I could ever touch. And that's what got me wanting to do this.
I was going to say, I've been looking over. I mean, you have everything from egg roll bowls to podcasts to 10 ways to love yourself, what drives destructiveness. I mean, this is just really perspective. I mean, gosh.
We talk
it's
about
really
faith,
amazing.
family, fun, fitness, food, finances, you name it. We got it. We've got a wonderful lady that's going to come on and start writing some articles on how women can help manage their money and set aside things, maybe help the single moms out there that are trying to figure out more of how to manage the one income budget across a family. So we're really working on empowering and equipping a wide variety of women.
It's a
And
great
very
magazine.
diverse,
Yes.
very diverse. I
Yes.
love it. I love
Yes.
it.
Wow. And you also have a podcast called Warrior Divas.
Yes.
Real women doing real things.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Is that an interview show, or do you teach, or what do you cover on it?
We've done a little bit of both. We are shifting it now to an interview basis because, again, just like the magazine, I can teach all day long. I get invited to speak and train. I want to spotlight other women doing amazing things, just like y'all are doing here on this show. It's a whole band of sisters that you have an audience you reach. I have an audience we reach. Let's join together. Let's not be this competitive, oh no, this is mine. Oh no, this is mine. Let's start sharing. Let's start impacting. Let's start raising other women up. And I just love interviewing people, period. So I was trying to do the show as a teaching thing, and I was like, this just isn't working for me. I need the people to feed off of.
Exactly like you.
Yes. Well, at the beginning of the show, you were talking about fake kids. So my curiosity, like, how did you acquire these fake kids, and who are they?
Bought them off the street.
They fell off a truck.
That one looks good.
My son came home one day and he said, I've got a friend that's going to be homeless. I was like, what? And, 5-year-olds telling you that, there's more to the story than that. And there was a situation going on, and this mom and her son were going to be without a home while they shifted some things. And so we told them they could stay with us for a little bit. It's going to be about a month. 6 months to a year later, they finally moved out. But that child, the first day I took him to class, the teacher asked him, said, who's this with you today, Brandon? And he says, oh, that's my fake mom. And I became fake mom from there. We've had about a dozen different kids that have lived with us on and off throughout the years. We've never been replacement for their parents. We've always co-parented with their parents. Helped get them to school, helped get them through college, helped get them to doctor's appointments, doing all the things that we need to do to just make sure that they're set up for the best success. And most of the times these were friends of my kids that they just said there's somebody that needs to come along. And so we've put a few into the military. My son and one of my last fake sons joined the military 2 weeks apart from each other. Wow. That'll do a heart in. That makes your prayer go up.
Exactly.
And so they're still serving in the military. The first one went into the military. He's now out and back home. So we have a few that have gone off to college and are working in the workforce. And it's just a full quiver of children, and we love it.
I love that. And I was a fake kid at one time, now that I know the term. But when I was in high school, a friend of mine led me to Christ, and that family took me in every Sunday afternoon. She would pick me up, and I'd go to church with them. I'd spend the afternoon with them, and she'd cook a beautiful lunch, a hot lunch, and I just so appreciated that, because I didn't have a lot of hot meals back then. And it was just an amazing day with them every Sunday. So I'm thankful for people like you, Angie, and I know those kids are so grateful for you for taking them in and just being a mentor mother to them, because some of us are, we just have to have that. We need that because we're not getting it at home. So thanks for being a fake mom, okay?
This is my blessing.
And we just want to thank you for being our guest today on Pop Talk. You can reach Angie, and you can find out more about her podcast and her magazine, D.I.V.A.S Impact, at her website, DIVASimpact.com. DIVASimpact.com. I don't think I have to spell that. I think we all know how to spell diva.
And of course, we would love for you to check out Pearls of Promise. You can find us on the website, pearlsofpromiseministries.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter. We blog, and of course, we share our Pop Talks with you on Facebook as well. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we also want to tell you about our upcoming Women Conference, the Level Up Conference. We do have that phenomenal conference in Austin this year. It's going to be March the 16th.
May
the 16th, I apologize. And in Dallas, September the 26th. And you can find out about us on Pearls of Promise, our website, Pearls of Promise, or you can go on Eventbrite. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
And we want to thank today this wonderful production group that puts this together. And if you want to get a hold of them, gracepoint.media.
Yeah. And Angie, as we close out the show, can you just give us a short word? If someone's out there watching us who just needs a little boost today, can you give them some word of encouragement here at the end?
all have those moments that we might be down in the dumps. We may feel like we're in this dark hole, and I just want you to know that we are right here shining a light into that hole. We're not going to expose your shame. We're not going to expose you, but we're shining that light so you can see our hand. And we are here. We've been there. We've walked that walk, and we are here to walk you out of it. And I just hope that you reach out to us and let us know how we can help you.
Thank you so much, Angie, for being on Pop Talk. So that's our show today. We're just ordinary girls.
Who God turned into pearls.
Have a great week, and we'll see you in 2.